It can't be all old Fenders and Marshalls and things that I already know. I've got to keep myself challenged from time to time. So I accepted in this, what started off life as a Shaw Stereo 1x2, which was a custom build by Shaw, and has since been modded by another guy, so it's no longer what Shaw intended. But the premise of this amp is that you have a single mono input, which goes to a single mono passive effects loop. And then from there, the returns are stereo. Each side feeds a phase inverter, and each side is a pair of EL84s. I have them out of the amp, so when I flip it upside down, the weight is not on the EL84s. It has bass, middle, treble, and volume for the preamp. And then you have master left and master right. The owner asked if I could install stepped pots for these, and I could. Notice that they're all upside down as far as the position, because the way this is installed in a combo, not a head. So we put all these to noon as they would be in use, so I don't get confused when I play it back. So I could install stepped master volume pots here, but I think the better solution, because even with step pots, they're not going to be exact, I can put in a single dual gang master, just a stereo master. So just one controls both pairs, and this one could either be left here cosmetically or taken out with a dummy plug over the hole, up to the owner. But yeah, I can get some stepped 1 meg pots, but they won't be that precise, and even with all the clicks and stuff, it's hard to get them to match each other as well as just having a single stereo pot. Let's look at the circuit. I did draw out what the previous tech had done in here, and it's pretty much already what you'd expect to find for 6SL7. I may increase the plate resistors here a bit more if necessary, or at least this one. It's a Fender channel, basically. He just did a Fender channel with a colder bias on the second half of the 6SL7 to get the most from the tube, the way the gain works in this. And it's got a simple voltage divider going out to the output. I did notice that the previous tech did not install a grid leak resistor across the volume pot. So this would pop when you plug and unplug, because the bias condition of that triode would change very rapidly as you plug and unplug the guitar, so it would be a pop. And also all the grid leaking would be handled, the grid leak function in use would be handled by the guitar volume pot, which means you could have DC built up on the guitar volume pot. So I'm going to add a 1 meg resistor, not only to make it easier on your guitar volume pots, but to depop this. Let me show you the fault that I have found in this amp and the cause of the noise issues this guy has reported. As you can tell, this amp is almost completely true point-to-point, though it does have some tag boards here and there to help it out. It'd be a nightmare to do a full service on this. It's overkill, but I won't need to do that much. So it's got this great big bus wire here, and it's going to chassis over here, and all the grounds are made to that bus bar across. And at this end, it looks like it's connected to chassis. It's not. It's being held in place by this little terminal strip, but the one that's tied to the chassis is not the one it's tied to. So that works fine. It's mechanically fine. I don't know that there's going to be any other issues in this amp, but I can tell you two things. First of all, they have 100 ohms screen grid resistors for the EL84s. These look to be 1 watt or 2 watts. Not optimal, but probably okay. I would want to change these out to a higher value for added protection for the EL84s. I think they've been getting away with it because they had some RCAs in there, but it would not hurt to bump these up, especially if down the road he needs to use a modern production EL84. But the biggest issue is the splooge coming out of this end of this 22 microfarad filter cap. So this is not original to the amp, and it is very much leaking electrolytic. This cap is specifically not very good. I'm going to change that out and then put the tubes in and power it up and see what the whole thing sounds like. The rest of the electrolytics, by the way, seem okay. It's got a Nishikon here and a whole bunch of sprigs. These are probably fine. The JJ dual section, multi-section filter here, well, it's 2-section, has a big dent in the outside. I'll ask the owner if he wants me to change that out just to make it pretty. I'm not sure how it got a big dent in the outside. I don't know whether that's faulty or not yet. We'll find out. It may be okay. I hope it's okay, because it's a pain in the butt to get in there. It's kind of a rat's nest in this area, but I can do it. Anyway, let's get rid of that bad 22 microfarad in the preamp. Step 1, let's make sure there's no voltage here waiting to zap us. All right, is discharged. do this the easy way. Snip. Snip. Use this to pry this out of the silicone. Let's see what cap this was. Ah, our old friend the U-caps. Generic, 85 degrees, and splooge ready. Yum. I have the camera to the side, so hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing while I have enough room to work. Take a razor blade and get this old silicone up, or at least most of it. Hard to work in this area. Don't want to scratch up the chassis. I want to get the bulk of this out. If there's a little bit left, that's fine. The new silicone will adhere to the old silicone, but just don't want to have a mountain of this stuff built up. Let's see, I'm at 750 and I've got to deal with a big bus wire, so I'm going to turn my meter up to 800 degrees. And before I try to pull on that or get anything to flow, I'm going to add some fresh solder, which adds fresh flux. Now that blue wire is not attached very well. All right, there we go. Getting some of the yuck off that area, so I've got a nice 10 section here for the new negative lead to go to. And this blue wire really is wanting to separate. Oh, it's this braid that's doing it too. For the shielding. Let's see. Let's do it down here, out of the area where I'll be working. Alrighty. Let's get some more solder out of this terminal lug. Alright, now I've got something for this positive lead of this new cap. I'm using MOD 20 microfarad to attach to. So I'm going to go ahead and give myself a little bend like that on the negative side. And I'm going to go a little bit up and over on the positive side. And give myself, take some of that excess that I know is going to be excess out so it'll fit better. Eyeball it where it needs to be. All right. So you have the positive, a crimp. And I can see I still have a little bit of excess here. Sorry if sometimes my hands block the camera. Almost unavoidable. All right, now before I solder this, I think I might do it right here so it reaches better. It's a neater, the negative lead is not as long where I did the positive shorter. I think I'll do it right there, some fresh area. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to tin this part of the copper bus wire because it's tarnished. And once that's done, I'm going to put some silicone on the chassis beneath this cap. So when I put it in place, it'll really be there. So first thing I want to do is move the negative end out of the way and tin this area right here. And remember, I have my soldering station set to 850 degrees for this. It takes a lot of heat to really heat up this copper, and then the flux in the fresh solder removes all the yuck that's just sitting on the outside, all the tarnishing. Use some non-reactive silicone. Won't take a lot. Let's see if I can do this. I'll do it this way. Then rotate it. Press it down. And then bring the negative over. All right, that silicone will take a while to set up. So let me go ahead and do the solder here. I turn my meter back down so it's going to be at a sane level next time I get in there. I'll use this little bit of napkin to wipe off a little excess silicone on the side, make it look neater. All right, there's a little cushion of silicone, and once that sets up, this cap won't vibrate. Let me just nudge it a little bit better into place. All right, there you go. All right, once that sets up, that'll be good probably for the next 20 years. All right, let's add the missing 1 meg to this input jack so it doesn't pop. Ta-da! I was just thinking that when I power this up, I want to have all the tubes present, but I only want to test right and left output at a time to make sure that each section is working right. And fortunately, they've already wired up the speaker jacks so that when nothing's plugged in, it's shunted to ground. So I can use just the left or just the right, and the output of each other side will have a load. So this should be safe to test. Because this amp is an unknown quantity for me, and I don't know if this JJ that with the big dent in it is any good or not, I'm first going to verify the fuse that's in the fuse holder. It's a 3 amp, that seems appropriate. And then I'm going to power it up on my current limiter without any tubes in place first. That filter cap's a little bit loose. Oh, it's not the filter cap, it's the clamp. I'll deal with that too. And make sure that we're not drawing any current before we add tubes. Then we'll add tubes. Well, sometimes amps fight with you. I powered this up on my current limiter. No issues. Put in the tubes. Still no issues. So no shorts or anything. And let me repeat that. We power it up. One of the things that gets you sometimes is when you have overlapping issues. So this side worked. This side did not. And I went in there and found some little wires that were touching each other that should not. That's one of the issues with true point-to-point. If you have a whole bunch of resistor leads all crammed up together, and they're supposed to be, that far apart, and sometimes they touch just because things move. So all that got sorted out, and the signal was better, and all the voltages were suddenly correct. And all of a sudden, it would begin to fade in and out, and then it just faded out and went away. And I had chased my tail checking everything it possibly could be. It turned out to be this 12AX7 had died. So now if I take this side out of standby, So we're making progress. The amp makes sound. It's quite a nice sound. A good loud sound. I think the 6SL7 stuff is working really well for our needs. So what I need to do next is I need to replace this dual section 100 microfarad cap. I'll put an FNT in there. I need to replace this bent can clamp. It's all twisted up. It feels like it's aluminum. I'll get a brass one. And they had some really tiny hardware here. I'm not going to move the camera to show you. A really undersized screw without a washer. So this thing is just pulled up. I'll replace all that with larger screw with a washer and a new brass one. And that'll be rock solid. The amp's got plenty of gain. The tone stock works fine. Let me show you the other stuff I need to do. All right, the owner would like some black, he says, milkman style knobs. That's not a problem. These pots are a little bit loose. They've never been tightened to the chassis properly here, and I will tighten them. These three have tooth washers of varying types. I'm going to get consistent, good tooth washers in here and tighten all the pots up. Let's see. The owner would like to know if I could get a dual power indicator light to replace this tiny LED. I could, but it would take up a lot of space, and it's tricky to drill, and I'd have to take this whole thing apart. I think sometimes it's best just to say, you know, that works. I can tell when the amp is on. That's enough. I don't think it's something worth spending money on. I will see if I can mount the standby switches, the power switch, and all the switches on the back more flush to the chassis so they're not sticking out. Depends on how much room's in there. I haven't really looked at that. I know it's either doable or not. He'd like EQ circuit push-pull pots for low cut, mid scoop, and high cut. I can do that. I don't think it's really advisable, but I will talk to him about that. It would be, I think, an overcomplication. And you get all kinds of stuff if chasing the Rivera stuff, and then you end up with even messier wiring, and this amp's already pretty congested inside. I'm not saying I can't do it. I'm not saying I won't do it. I don't think it's necessary. I think now that the amp is working properly, and you don't have all that, it would have sounded horrible with that failing filter cap. I think, let's see how this thing responds once everything is totally healthy and the outputs are matched. Let's see if I can maybe nudge the existing circuit in some other directions. It's just a straight AB763 tone stack and volume setup. Let's see. 8 to 12 position rotary dial for stepped master volume left and right. I mentioned that earlier. We can do that, but I don't think even with stepped knobs, that'll be as convenient as one stereo, because these master volumes in here are just cross-lined. Cross-line master volumes. I could use a single stereo dual gang pot to achieve the same thing with one knob. So it's up to the owner. I'll talk to him. Let's see. Anything else? Known issues, poor speaker connector, solder job, evidence audio cable want to keep. I will check that on the cab. The cab's in the other room right now. I'll always make sure the speakers are wired correctly before I send something out. JJ power filter beat up and bent, outside plastic shielding. I mentioned that. Apparently this thing had been shipped internationally, and customs had taken apart to make sure it wasn't a bomb. And the owner thinks that the customs did that to the JJ when they took it out. Let's see. Full review of parts and joints after plane trips and worldwide shipment. I've pretty much done that, moving things around in here. Modification of tuning a preamp section for 6SL7. As I mentioned, previous tech already did that. It really sounds good. You'll get a chance to hear it once I get some other issues sorted out. And I think that's pretty much everything that he was curious about. I will talk to him on the phone about all the mid scoop and treble boost and stuff that he wants. I think it's premature to decide either way. Other than that, the amp is sounding really good. So it's almost just little finishing touches. Like, wouldn't these be prettier if they were flush mounted and they'd stick out from the chassis, from the cabinet a lot less? Anyway, thanks for watching.